Earth's weakness was its strength. Aliens learned this too late. Commander Zorx 427 tapped his claw-like appendages against the control panel of the Galactic Armada's flagship, the Inevitable Conquest. The name seemed less certain with each passing day. 6 orbital cycles had passed since they'd arrived in this pathetic solar system, and still, this insignificant blue planet resisted. "What's the status report on the Northern Hemisphere assault?" Zorx barked, his violet eyes narrowing as he glared at Lieutenant Mipa. "Well, sir, it's not exactly good news," Mipa stammered, his skin fluctuating between shades of green and yellow, the universal sign of nervousness among the Krylorian species. "Spit it out, Lieutenant, before I decide your talents would be better utilized as biomatter for the ship's recycling system." "The humans have repelled our forces again, sir. They used water balloons." "Water balloons?" Zorx's voice echoed throughout the command center, causing several junior officers to duck reflexively. "Are you telling me that the most advanced military force in 13 galaxies was defeated by primitive sacks of hydrogen dioxide?" "To be fair, sir," offered Strategic Officer Plex from her station, "they filled them with dish soap. It disrupts our exoskeletal membrane integrity." Zorx stared at her. "You mean to tell me we're being defeated by cleaning supplies?" "Dawn Ultra specifically, sir," Plex added, reviewing the data on her screen. "Apparently it's also what they use to clean aquatic birds after oil spills. Quite versatile, really. I've been thinking of requisitioning some for the recreation deck. Enough." Zorx slammed all 4 of his fists down simultaneously. "I didn't cross 16 light years to be impressed by their detergents." The truth was, Zorx hadn't expected any resistance at all. The initial scans had shown Earth to be a Class D civilization, pre-interstellar travel, still burning fossil fuels, and spending an inordinate amount of time watching creatures called cats perform trivial actions on digital screens. Their military technology was primitive compared to Krylorian standards. They hadn't even harnessed the power of quantum displacement or gravity manipulation, and yet, "Sir?" Communications Officer Blip interrupted Zorx's thoughts. "We're receiving a transmission from Earth. They're requesting to negotiate?" Zorx let out a sound somewhere between a laugh and a snort. "Negotiate? What could they possibly offer us? Their planet is the only one in this system with the specific mineral compound we need. Without compound ZX7, our entire civilization will collapse when our quantum stabilizers fail. There's nothing to negotiate." "Perhaps they're surrendering?" suggested Vice Commander Quasic hopefully. "Put it through," Zorx ordered, straightening his posture. Even when addressing doomed species, protocol demanded a certain decorum. The main view screen flickered to life, revealing a human female with dark skin and curly hair pulled back into what Zorx had learned was called a ponytail. She wore a simple blue uniform with some insignia Zorx didn't recognize. "Greetings, Commander." "Zorx, is it?" she said with a calm that Zorx found irritating. "I'm Dr. Maya Patel, representing Earth's Unified Defense Council." "Dr. Patel," Zorx replied coldly. "I assume you're calling to discuss terms of surrender?" The woman had the audacity to smile. "Actually, no. We're calling to give you one last chance to leave our solar system peacefully." The command center erupted in laughter, a strange, chittering sound that made Dr. Patel raise an eyebrow but maintain her composure. "Oh, that's rich!" Zorx wiped a tear-like secretion from his eye. "You humans are entertaining, I'll give you that. Perhaps we'll keep a few of you as court jesters after we've stripped your planet of resources." "I was afraid you'd say that," Dr. Patel sighed. "Well, can't say we didn't try diplomacy. Diplomacy is the luxury of equals, Dr. Patel. We are not equals." "No," she agreed, her smile turning slightly predatory. "You're right about that. But you've misidentified which of us is superior." The screen went black. "Well, that was dramatic," Vice Commander Quasic commented dryly. "Should we prepare another ground assault?" Before Zorx could answer, the ship violently lurched to one side, throwing several officers from their stations. What in the 7 moons of Kryloria was that? Zorx demanded, picking himself up from the floor. Sir! The tactical officer Drieg shouted. The humans! They've somehow weaponized their social media algorithms. They've what? Our ship's neural network is being bombarded with something called cat videos and sourdough bread tutorials. The system can't process the sheer volume of utterly irrelevant content. It's causing cascade failures throughout the ship. Zorx couldn't believe what he was hearing. Shut down the network. Go to auxiliary systems. I can't, sir. Something called a TikTok dance challenge has infected the command protocols. The system it's trying to make the ship dance? As if on cue, the inevitable conquest began to shudder rhythmically, its massive hull attempting to perform what Zorx would later learn was called the Renegade. This is impossible, Zorx hissed. How could they possibly know how to hack our systems? Strategic Officer Plex looked up from her console, her expression grim. Sir, remember those primitive satellites we destroyed when we first arrived? The ones we thought were just for communication. What about them? Well, it seems they weren't just communicating. They were observing. For decades, apparently. They'd been watching us. Studying us. Learning our weaknesses. Zorx felt a cold sensation in all 3 of his hearts. That's not possible. Their technology isn't advanced enough. Sir, Plex continued, her voice dropping to a near whisper. It appears that what we interpreted as technological limitation was actually intentional restraint. The implications hit Zorx like a quantum torpedo. The humans hadn't been unable to develop more advanced technology. They had chosen not to. But why? What possible advantage could there be in appearing weak? All assault units, report status. Zorx barked into his communicator. Static was the only reply. Lieutenant Mipa, get me a visual on our ground forces. The view screen flickered to life again, showing scenes that made even Zorx's battle-hardened constitution quiver. Krylorian soldiers were retreating in disarray, pursued by humans armed with the most bizarre array of weapons Zorx had ever seen. Some fired what appeared to be pressurized streams of carbonated beverages at the Krylorian troops, causing their protective armor to dissolve on contact. Others deployed small, furry quadrupeds that Zorx recognized as dogs, which were somehow able to detect and disable the Krylorians' cloaking devices by sniffing them? Is that human throwing vinyl records? Quasic asked incredulously, pointing at one section of the screen. Apparently Earth music pressed into physical form creates harmonic disruptions that interfere with our neural implants. Plex explained, sounding almost impressed. Particularly something called disco. Sir, Blip called out. We're receiving reports from our mining operations. The humans have contaminated the compound ZX7 deposits. Impossible! ZX7 is impervious to contamination. Not contaminated with chemicals, sir. With ideas. What? They've somehow introduced concepts of unions and fair labor practices to our mining drones. The units are refusing to work more than 8 hours per day and are demanding something called dental benefits, which is particularly odd since they don't have teeth. Zorx stared at the chaos unfolding on the view screen, a horrifying realization dawning on him. The humans weren't just fighting back, they were winning. And they were doing it with resources so mundane, so beneath notice, that the Krylorians had never considered them threats. Sir, Plex said quietly, I think I understand their strategy now. Their weakness, it was deliberate. It was a trap. Explain, Zorx demanded, though he was beginning to see it himself. Throughout their history, humans have been conquered repeatedly, by other humans. Each time, the invaders eventually became, well, human themselves. They were absorbed, integrated, transformed. The humans don't resist conquest, they encompass it. Zorx watched as another battalion of his finest warriors fled from a group of humans armed with what appeared to be musical instruments that emitted sounds at frequencies that disrupted Krylorian neural pathways. "Is that a saxophone?" Quasic whispered in horror. "Jazz," Plex confirmed grimly. "Our one true weakness." The ship lurched again, this time accompanied by a strange smell wafting through the ventilation system. "What is that?" Zorx demanded, his sensory tendrils recoiling. "Something called pumpkin spice, sir," Blip reported, checking his console. "It's everywhere in their culture during a season called fall. It appears to react with our biochemistry to produce feelings of coziness and nostalgia for experiences we've never actually had." Zorx felt an inexplicable urge to wrap himself in a soft blanket and watch the burning of hydrocarbon wood in a stone enclosure. The sensation was terrifying. "Retreat," he whispered, then more firmly. "Full retreat! All units return to ships. We're leaving this system immediately." "But, sir," Quasic protested, "the compound ZX7! Our civilization needs it. Our civilization won't survive contact with whatever this is." Zorx gestured wildly at the view screen, where Krylorian soldiers were now being pelted with spherical objects. "Are those pumpkins?" Quasic asked. "They're launching gourds at our troops," Plex confirmed, her voice hollow with disbelief. The view screen suddenly changed again, showing Dr. Patel once more. She appeared to be sitting in a comfortable chair, sipping from a steaming mug. "Going somewhere, Commander?" she asked pleasantly. "You've won nothing," Zorx snarled, trying to maintain some dignity. "We'll return with a larger force. We'll sterilize your planet from orbit." "No, you won't," Dr. Patel replied, taking another sip. "Because now you understand what happens to those who threaten Earth. You don't just fight humans, you become infected by humanity. Your troops are already humming our songs. Your drones are discussing work-life balance. And you, Commander," she smiled knowingly, "how's that pumpkin spice hitting you?" Zorx wanted to respond with a threat, but found himself instead asking, "Does it always make you feel this warm inside?" "That's just the beginning," Dr. Patel nodded. "Wait until you discover ugly sweaters and hot chocolate." You're monsters," Zorx whispered. "No, we're humans. And now, a little bit of you is too." Dr. Patel set down her mug. "You have 24 hours to leave our solar system. After that, we start broadcasting something called reality television directly into your neural networks." The screen went black again. "Set course for Krylorian space," Zorx ordered quietly. "Maximum speed." "But, sir," Quasic began, The High Command doesn't know what we're dealing with here," Zorx interrupted. "These humans, they're unlike anything we've encountered before. Their weakness is their greatest weapon. They don't need advanced technology because they weaponize the mundane. They turn the ordinary into the extraordinary." As the inevitable conquest broke orbit and accelerated away from Earth, Zorx gazed at the blue planet through the view screen. Such an unassuming world. So easy to underestimate. "Sir," Plex approached cautiously, "what do we tell the High Command?" Zorx considered for a moment. "We tell them the truth. Earth is protected by itself. By its own chaotic, unpredictable nature. By its stubborn insistence on finding joy and humor even in the face of annihilation." "Do you think they'll believe us?" Quasic asked. Zorx thought about the cat videos, the dish soap, the pumpkin spice, the jazz. "No," he admitted. "They won't. They'll have to experience it for themselves." "And what about the compound ZX7? Without it, we'll find another way," Zorx said firmly. "We're Krylorians. We're adaptable." As the ship accelerated to light speed, Zorx felt something strange, a sensation he hadn't experienced in his centuries of military service. It took him a moment to identify it. Respect. He felt respect for the humans. "Computer," he said after a moment, Download all available information on this. Pumpkin spice. For scientific analysis, of course. Of course, sir. Quasic agreed, though Zorx noticed his second-in-command was tapping his foot rhythmically, a distinctly human gesture. It seemed Earth's infection had already begun to spread, and somewhere on that little blue planet, Dr. Maya Patel raised her mug in a toast to the retreating alien fleet, a small smile playing on her lips. Humanity, she murmured to herself. Our greatest weakness. Our ultimate strength. Absolutely not. I refuse to believe this nonsense. Supreme Overlord Crank slammed all 6 of his appendages onto the High Council table, causing the holographic displays to flicker momentarily. You expect the High Command to accept that our most advanced invasion force was defeated by, what did you call it? Jazz music and dish soap? Commander Zorx 427 stood at attention before the Krylorian High Council, acutely aware of how his report sounded. 3 lunar cycles had passed since their humiliating retreat from Earth, and the debriefing was going exactly as he'd feared. Supreme Overlord, I understand your skepticism. I myself would not believe it had I not witnessed it firsthand. Zorx replied, keeping his tone steady despite the embarrassment burning through all 3 of his hearts. The humans possess an unconventional defense strategy. Unconventional? General Drax scoffed from his elevated seat. You claim they contaminated our mining operation with concepts? Concepts, Zorx? Do you take us for primitive blorgens? The council chamber, a vast, imposing structure carved from the rare crystal caves of Kryloria Prime, echoed with chittering laughter. Zorx endured it stoically, his violet eyes fixed on a point above the council members' heads. Permission to speak freely, Supreme Overlord? Zorx requested. Cranks waved a dismissive appendage. If you must. Though I fail to see how you could make this report any more absurd. The humans are dangerous precisely because we do not understand them. Zorx began. Their civilization appears chaotic, disorganized, and primitive by our standards. But this appearance is deceptive. They've turned their greatest weaknesses, their irrationality, their emotionalism, their obsession with trivial comforts, into formidable weapons. Strategic Officer Plex stepped forward, her skin shifting to a formal shade of blue. If I may, Supreme Overlord, our analysis suggests that human culture is contagious. Exposure to their customs, their entertainment, even their food, produces psychological changes in non-human species. Are you suggesting mind control? Science Minister Zeb leaned forward, suddenly interested. Not exactly, Plex clarified. It's more like cultural infiltration. Our troops began exhibiting human behaviors within days of contact. Several of our scout ships have reported crew members requesting weekends off and organizing something called karaoke nights. This is preposterous, General Drac exclaimed. Krylorians have conquered 17 galaxies. We've subjugated species with telepathic abilities, with technological capabilities far beyond these humans. How could they possibly affect us this way? The council chamber doors suddenly burst open. A junior communications officer rushed in, his skin pulsating with urgent patterns of red and orange. Forgive the interruption, Supreme Overlord, he gasped. But we've just received an unauthorized transmission from Earth. What? How did they find our homeworld? Cranks demanded. Unknown, sir. But the transmission is being broadcast on all frequencies. We can't block it. Put it through, Cranks ordered, his tone suggesting the communications officer would be recycled into biomatter if he didn't comply immediately. The central holographic projector flickered, and suddenly the imposing council chamber was filled with music. And not just any music, a pulsating, rhythmic beat that seemed to bypass the auditory sensory organs and connect directly to the motor functions. Several junior council members began unconsciously swaying. Then, Dr. Maya Patel's face appeared above the council table. Greetings, Krylorian High Council, she said pleasantly, as if addressing old friends rather than a species that had recently attempted to conquer her planet. I hope you're enjoying the music. It's called disco, a personal favorite of mine. How dare you? Crank sputtered, rising to his full, impressive height. This is an outrage. A violation of Interstellar protocol. Oh, I'm sorry, Dr. Patel replied, not sounding sorry at all. Would you prefer something else? Perhaps some classical? Or maybe K-pop? That tends to be particularly infectious. What do you want, human? Cranks demanded, trying to regain control of the situation. Just checking in. Dr. Patel smiled. Commander Zorx left so abruptly, we wanted to make sure he arrived home safely. And to deliver a message. The council chamber fell silent, all eyes now fixed on the human's projection. Earth is declaring itself open for peaceful relations with all species, including Krylorians. Dr. Patel continued. We're happy to discuss trade agreements, cultural exchanges, even limited mining rights for Compound ZX7. Limited? General Drax scoffed. We could obliterate your planet with a single command. Dr. Patel's smile didn't waver. You could certainly try, General. But before you make that decision, you might want to check your neural network. Almost on cue, the lights in the council chamber flickered. The massive view screens that lined the walls suddenly began displaying cats. Thousands of cats, doing various cat activities, sleeping in improbable positions, knocking objects off surfaces, fitting themselves into containers clearly too small for their bodies. What is this? Cranks demanded, unable to tear his eyes away from a particularly mesmerizing video of a cat startling itself in a mirror. Just a small demonstration, Dr. Patel explained. You see, while Commander Zorx was busy dealing with our surface defenses, we took the liberty of uploading what we call mimetic content to your ship's neural networks. They brought it back with them. It's been spreading through your systems ever since. Impossible! Science Minister Zeb exclaimed. Our firewalls are very impressive. Dr. Patel nodded. But they're designed to repel technological threats. Our content isn't malware in the traditional sense. It's, well, let's call it cultural malware. Your systems don't recognize it as a threat because technically it isn't one. It's just, really, really distracting. As if to prove her point, a junior council member snorted with laughter at a video of a cat trying to catch a laser pointer dot. You see, Dr. Patel continued, we've been studying you for decades. We knew you were out there, watching us. We knew you'd eventually come for our resources. So we prepared, in our own way. By developing weapons? General Drac asked, trying to focus on the conversation rather than the inexplicably captivating cat videos. No, Dr. Patel shook her head. By developing culture, entertainment, art. Things that seem trivial but speak to something universal. Something even Krylorians can't resist. Zorx stepped forward. It's true, Supreme Overlord. The humans didn't defeat us with superior firepower or technology. They defeated us with joy. Joy! Cranks repeated the word as if it were in a foreign language. Yes, Zorx confirmed. They've mastered something we abandoned centuries ago in our pursuit of galactic dominance. They've preserved their capacity for wonder, for humor, for appreciation of small pleasures. And somehow, it's more powerful than our most advanced weapons. The council chamber was silent again, but this time, it was a thoughtful silence. The cat videos continued to play, and Zorx noticed with alarm that Supreme Overlord Cranks was smiling. The expression looked strange and unpracticed on his severe face. What are your terms, Dr. Patel? Cranks asked finally. Simple. Leave Earth alone. In return, we'll grant limited mining access to Compound ZX7, enough to maintain your quantum stabilizers. We'll also stop broadcasting cat videos into your neural network. And if we refuse? Dr. Patel's expression grew serious. Then we'll be forced to deploy our ultimate weapon. Which is? General Drac demanded. We call it social media. Dr. Patel's voice dropped to a near whisper. Imagine the cat videos, but multiplied by billions. Interspersed with political arguments, dance trends, makeup tutorials, and endless debates about whether a dress is blue and black or white and gold. Even Zorx, who had faced this weapon firsthand, felt a shudder run through his exoskeleton. You wouldn't, Cranks breathed. We would, Dr. Patel confirmed. We estimate your entire civilization would collapse within one orbital cycle. Not through violence, but because your productivity would drop to approximately zero. Your citizens would be too busy trying to perfect something called the renegade dance to remember to report for duty. Cranks looked around the council chamber, where several members were already humming along to the disco music still playing softly in the background. One was attempting to take a selfie with the cat video display. The High Council will consider your proposal, Cranks said finally. Disconnection this transmission. Dr. Patel nodded. We'll await your response. Oh, and Commander Zorx? Zorx straightened. Yes, Dr. Patel? I've included a recipe for pumpkin spice lattes in the data packet. You seem to enjoy the aroma. Before Zorx could respond, her image disappeared, leaving the council chamber uncomfortably quiet except for the occasional chuckle from council members still watching cat videos. Well? Cranks turned to Zorx. Do you have anything else to add to this enlightening report? Zorx considered his options carefully. His military career was likely over, regardless of what he said next. But perhaps there was something more important at stake. Supreme Overlord, I believe the humans represent not just a threat, but an opportunity. Explain, Cranks demanded, though his tone had lost some of its earlier hostility. For 10,000 cycles, the Krylorian Empire has expanded through conquest. We've achieved technological superiority, military dominance, and economic control over vast regions of space. And yet, yes? And yet, Supreme Overlord, when was the last time you laughed? When was the last time any of us experienced genuine surprise or wonder or, yes, joy? The council chamber remained silent, but Zorx could see his words landing like stones in still water, creating ripples of uncomfortable recognition. The humans are dangerous not because they can defeat us militarily, but because they remind us of what we've lost in our pursuit of galactic dominance. Zorx continued. They offer something our empire doesn't have, something we didn't even realize we were missing until we encountered it. Science Minister Zeb cleared his throat. The compound ZX7. We do need it. Our civilization depends on it. Perhaps, Zorx suggested carefully, it's time for Krylorians to learn the concept of trade. Equal exchange. Partnership rather than domination. Preposterous! General Drac protested, but with noticeably less conviction than before. Is it? Zorx challenged. Is it more preposterous than the fact that several council members are still watching cat videos even as we debate the future of our civilization? Guilty expressions spread across the council as members hurriedly looked away from the displays. Supreme Overlord Cranks was silent for a long moment, his expression unreadable. Finally, he spoke. Commander Zorx 427, for your failure to conquer Earth, you are hereby stripped of your military rank. Zorx accepted this with a slight bow. He had expected nothing less. However, Cranks continued, in recognition of your unique insights into human culture, you are appointed as the first Krylorian ambassador to Earth. A murmur of surprise rippled through the council chamber. Ambassador? Zorx repeated, stunned. Yes, Cranks confirmed. You will return to Earth not as a conqueror, but as a diplomat. You will negotiate terms for mining rights to Compound ZX7, and you will. He hesitated, as if the words were difficult to form. Study their culture. Determine which elements might be beneficial for Krylorian society to adopt. Supreme Overlord, Are you suggesting cultural exchange with a Class D civilization? General Drac asked, aghast. I am suggesting, Cranks replied firmly, that any species capable of defeating our most advanced invasion force without firing a shot deserves our respect, and perhaps our curiosity. For the first time in his long military career, Zorx felt something unexpected, a sense of anticipation that wasn't related to conquest or strategic advantage. He was looking forward to returning to Earth, to learning more about these strange, contradictory creatures who found strength in vulnerability and power in joy. I accept the position, Supreme Overlord, Zorx said with a formal bow. Good, Cranks nodded. Your first task is to find out what this blue and black or white and gold dress debate is about. It sounds intriguing. 3 lunar cycles later, Zorx stood on the observation deck of the diplomatic vessel. Peaceful encounter, watching as Earth grew larger in the view screen. Beside him, strategic officer, now cultural attaché, Plex sipped something from a steaming mug. Is that pumpkin spice? Zorx asked, his olfactory sensors detecting the now familiar aroma. It's growing on me, Plex admitted. Though I've also developed an appreciation for something called chai. The humans have an impressive variety of flavored water preparations, Zorx noted. It seems inefficient. Perhaps that's what we've been missing, Plex suggested. A little inefficiency. A little, what did Dr. Patel call it? Whimsy. The communication panel chimed, indicating an incoming transmission from Earth. Put it through, Zorx ordered. Dr. Maya Patel's face appeared on the screen, her expression cautiously welcoming. Ambassador Zorx, she greeted him. Earth welcomes you under our new diplomatic arrangements. Thank you, Dr. Patel, Zorx replied. The Krylorian Empire looks forward to peaceful relations with Earth. And we've prepared a welcome package for your diplomatic team, Dr. Patel added with a slight smile. Including complete seasons of something we call reality television. Is that the ultimate weapon you threatened us with? Zorx asked, only half joking. Oh no, Dr. Patel laughed. That's just the beginning. Wait until you discover internet comment sections. As the peaceful encounter entered Earth's orbit, Zorx reflected on the strange turn of events. He had arrived at this insignificant blue planet as a conqueror, certain of Krylorian's superiority. He returned now as a student, humbled by the realization that true strength sometimes wore the disguise of weakness. Earth had taught the mighty Krylorian Empire a lesson that would reshape their civilization. Sometimes, the softest things in the universe, laughter, wonder, creativity, connection, were also the most powerful. And somewhere in the vastness of space, cats continued to do silly things. Disco continued to make even the most dignified species want to dance, and pumpkin spice continued its subtle conquest of the galaxy, one mug at a time. The real invasion, it seemed, had only just begun.